Good afternoon, everybody, and I'm delighted to be able to announce that over the course of the next week, 1.7 million additional doses sourced from Singapore and the United Kingdom will be distributed to the states and territories to support all states and territories around Australia. This comes at the same time as we have news that Australia has now passed the significant mark of 21 million doses and very significantly 13 million first doses and 8 million second doses. So what that shows is that Australians are stepping forward to be vaccinated against COVID-19, but at the same time, additional doses are coming to support every state and every territory. In particular, I'm pleased to be able to inform the Australian people the TGA has already cleared the first 450,000 doses from the United Kingdom. The first 500,000 doses from Singapore are now being distributed. The 450,000 from the UK will now join them. I'm also pleased to be able to say that we are expecting on Thursday night a further 450,000 doses, and on the weekend, by the end of the weekend, approximately 300,000 further doses from the UK, with the balance to be delivered at approximately 1 million a week over the coming weeks. What does that mean? It means that over the course of the next week, the Australian government will inject a further 1.7 million doses into support for states, territories, GPs, and ultimately the Australian public. This is on top of the existing doses, which were already coming, 4.6 million Pfizer and 1 million Moderna, as well as 1 million a week available for AstraZeneca. So these are very significant additional doses that will be available for bookings, will be distributed as they're cleared by the TGA, with the first 950,000 of that 1.7 million on their way to GPs, to state and territory practices, to Indigenous medical clinics, and to Commonwealth vaccination centres. So I think that's a very important step forward and a real point of hope. Now, I would also be very pleased to mention that we have struck new medicines agreements with Medicines Australia, the peak body for our medicine makers, and the Generic and Biosimilar Medicines Association of Australia. They obviously, as the name suggests, take care of the production of generic medicines, of biosimilar medicines. What does it mean for Australians? It's a 5-year agreement which will see approximately $5 billion injected into new medicines through the PBS. And very significantly, for the first time ever, we have a medicines supply guarantee. Over 500 medicines, which periodically face shortages, will now have 4 to 6 months stock held in Australia. What does that mean? It means for diabetes, it means for heart disease, it means for some mental health conditions, that the risk of medicine shortages for the first time is being addressed on an ongoing basis. An agreement between our medicines companies, which includes the vaccine manufacturers that are helping us here in Australia, and the Australian government to benefit the Australian people. In addition, there is a faster process that's being developed through what's called the Health Technology Assessment to bring more medicines to the Australian public earlier. Just in terms of vaccines, the daily rollout figures, we have almost 259,000 vaccines in the last 24 hours, and that takes us to 21.24 million vaccines, 21.24 million vaccines. And significantly, I mentioned that we've passed 13 million first doses. It's now 13.16 million doses. That leaves us with less than 1.4 million people to come forward to be given doses to achieve the national 70% mark for first doses. It leaves us with less than 3.4 million people to be vaccinated to achieve the 80% mark. So every day we are coming considerably closer to our first and second national milestones. 21 million doses all up, 13 million first doses, 8 million second doses. These are all critical steps. But to get to that national plan, we're well on our way, and approximately 1.9 million doses in the last 7 days. So it shows that it's within reach. Finally, I just note that the first dose total is 63.8%. The second dose total is 39%. And very hearteningly, and I think importantly, 89.3% of Australians over 70 have now had a first dose at the least.